"Get your truck off my property." That's the first thing I heard after a 14-hour shift on base boots, still laced back, aching eyes burning. I hadn't even put the truck in park when Brenda, my neighbor, blocked my driveway with her giant SUV and screamed like I was some intruder breaking into her kingdom. What she didn't know was that every one of the reports she'd been filing against me for months landed on the desk of the person who would soon replace her, and her call to base security. It didn't get me removed. It summoned her own downfall. My name is Marcus Thompson, 45, 20 years in Air Force logistics before I traded the uniform for contractor blues. Divorced 6 months ago, she got the house. I got the mortgage scars, and this small ranch outside the base was the first thing I'd owned outright in my entire life. A patch of peace or so, I thought. After work, I'd roll into the driveway, open the garage, and pick up where I left off on my 1967 Mustang restoration. Motor oil CCR on the radio, the smell of metal and memory, it kept me sane. Reminded me that broken things can be rebuilt. And then there was Brenda Whitfield, base housing coordinator, bottle blonde acrylic nails, that tight smile that never reached her eyes. Married to Staff Sergeant Dale, currently deployed, which apparently meant she outranked every other human within a 10-mile radius. Clipboard in hand, pearl earrings bobbing, she'd patrol the streets like a suburban commander inspecting troops. I thought she was harmless at first. She brought cookies the week I moved in, said welcome. We're all family here, in that sugary tone that made you think maybe, just maybe, this neighborhood would give me the reset I needed. Then I parked my perfectly legal contractor truck on the street. Next morning, a pink note on my windshield. Contractor vehicles reduce community value. The paper smelled like vanilla perfume, like she sprayed her signature scent over her territory. I ignored it. Day 2. Another note, this time highlighted, citing city ordinances that didn't apply to me. Day 3, she cornered me at the mailbox, arms folded like I was on trial. "This is a military community," she said, "and we have standards." When I mentioned I served 20 years in the Air Force, she didn't even blink. Contractor isn't the same thing, she said, like the word contractor was some contagious disease. By the second week, I walked straight into an ambush. A special HOA meeting. 30 folding chairs, a projector screen, and Brenda standing at the front like she was delivering intelligence briefings. First, slide my truck. Second, slide my house photographed from her bedroom window. She didn't have to say my name. Every single head turned toward me anyway. "Some residents don't understand our military culture of pride and presentation," she declared. Then came the questions. Can we prohibit contractor trucks? What can we do about these kinds of neighbors? Like I wasn't sitting right there breathing the same air. I stood up when she offered the floor. Felt like standing before a court-martial. "I follow all regulations," I said. "I'm a good neighbor. That's all I've got." Weak applause, sympathy, not support. But on the way out, gravel crunching under my boots, Chuck Martinez, retired Marine living 3 doors down, caught my arm. "That was bullshit," he whispered. "Some of us remember what serving actually means." That handshake was the first moment I felt human all night. I thought it would end there. I was wrong. That Sunday morning, head under the Mustang's hood, I heard voices in my driveway. A landscaping crew got a work order for tree removal on Mrs. Whitfield's property line. The foreman held paperwork stamped with county seals and notarized signatures. It looked real. But the oak trees in question. They were 8 feet inside my property. Brenda stepped out from behind her hedge like she'd been waiting for her cue, pressed khakis tight bun manila folder tucked under her arm like a weapon. "I filed boundary adjustments with the county," she announced. "These trees encroach. They must be removed at your expense." I read the document, stomach twisting. The survey she showed put my trees firmly on her land, and for just 1 second, I doubted myself. Maybe I'd misread my deed. Maybe I really didn't belong here. Maybe I was the problem. But 20 years in logistics teaches you one thing: when paperwork doesn't match reality, someone's running a scam. I gathered my original survey, every photo I could find, measurements taken with military precision. Monday at lunch, I drove to the county building. The clerk pulled up records. "Interesting," she muttered. Mrs. Whitfield filed a boundary dispute 6 months ago that wasn't processed. Then again last week, with completely different measurements. She turned the monitor toward me. 2 documents, 2 different property lines, one real, one fake. That's when the knot in my stomach turned into something else: cold anger. I paid for my own certified survey, even though it meant dipping into my Mustang fund. The result: the trees were 100% mine. And when I posted the real survey online in the neighborhood Facebook group, messages poured in. She tried that with us last year. She lied about our dog and called animal control. She threatened to report my husband's unit. Turns out I wasn't her first target. I was just her newest. I'd barely processed that truth when the next punch landed. Tuesday morning after a night shift, I turned onto my street and saw 3 SUVs parked in a perfect formation blocking my driveway access. Brenda's book club. Not illegal, just malicious. I knocked on doors. Half-asleep women parroting the same line. We're parked legally. First come, first served. Brenda stepped outside, keys jingling in her hand. Having parking troubles, she cooed. My friends love our neighborhood. Every Tuesday morning they'll be visiting. The exact time I came home from shift. That walk 4 blocks with my gear slung over my shoulder was the first time I felt true exhaustion in my bones. Not from work. From being treated like I was trespassing in my own life. But I remembered something my old commander told me. Every regulation cuts both ways. City Hall confirmed it. My street qualified for residential permit parking with one homeowner request. $25 per year. I walked out with application forms and a new sense of purpose. Chuck happily signed. About damn time someone fought her with paperwork, he said. By Friday the permit was approved. Monday the signs went up. Permit parking only 8 a.m., 6 p.m. Tuesday morning. Brenda's book club rolled in as usual. 6 cars, 6 violations. City enforcement loves easy money. Tickets started blooming across windshields like orange flowers. Brenda stormed to my door, enraged, vanilla perfume hitting me like tear gas. "Fix this," she demanded. I held up the official permit paperwork, calm as a man who'd finally landed a winning punch. "Same process you used for your creative tree survey," I said. That should have humbled her. But Brenda wasn't wired for humility. Instead, she escalated to nuclear. Base security summoned me immediately. My supervisor, Chief Warrant Officer Reynolds, slid a thick folder toward me. Every report filed against me was inside. Suspicious nighttime behavior. Chemical odors consistent with explosive manufacturing. Unidentified visitors. It read like the case file for a domestic terror suspect. My hands shook as I flipped through the pages. 20 years of honorable service, and this woman was trying to turn WD-40 and car paint into evidence of a bomb lab. What scared me wasn't the lies, it was how believable they sounded once they were typed onto government forms. My next clearance renewal was coming up. A stain like this could end my career. When I walked back into the office, conversations died. People avoided eye contact. No one wanted to be next to the guy under investigation. That night I sat in my garage, staring at the Mustang. The place that once felt like my sanctuary now felt like a crime scene. For the first time since the divorce, I truly felt alone. And I asked myself quietly, maybe she's right. Maybe I shouldn't be here. Maybe I don't belong anywhere. That was the lowest point, the moment where quitting felt easier than fighting. But 2 things saved me. 1, a HOA request revealing 4 contractors before me had lost jobs or clearances because of Brenda's targeted reports. 2, Chuck installing additional cameras with me saying bullies fall hardest when you let them talk long enough. The footage didn't just show harassment, it showed obsession. Midnight measuring tape, telephoto lens through my windows, coaching local kids to toss debris into my yard. It was enough to flip the narrative. Then came the twist I never saw coming. Over coffee one morning, Chief Reynolds casually mentioned a position opening up. Base housing coordinator, he said. The current coordinator has performance issues. We're looking for someone with leadership experience, fairness, and logistical background. Honestly, Marcus, you're the top recommendation. I nearly choked. Brenda had been destroying my life while being evaluated for termination, and every false report she filed against me had gone straight into the performance review packet I would one day oversee as her replacement. When she found out someone she didn't yet know who was being considered for her job, she lost whatever grip she had left. She stormed into my workplace screaming accusations, waving photos of my cameras like I was running surveillance on her family. Security escorted her out while half the base watched. That night she launched a smear campaign online. Dozens of posts claiming I was dangerous, stalking families trying to infiltrate housing leadership. But neighbors weren't scared anymore. They posted screenshots of her harassment videos of her creeping around my house. One clip Chuck uploaded, Brenda crouched behind bushes at 2 a.m., went viral across military spouse pages. That's when Brenda filed the restraining order. A thick packet claiming I'd stalked her, threatened her, surveilled her family. A court hearing scheduled the day before my interview. If it passed, I'd be disqualified from the job and lose my clearance. I brought every shred of evidence to Captain Sarah Williams in base legal. She looked through the documents, shook her head, and said, "Marcus, this isn't just harassment. This is weaponized bureaucracy." Court day. Cold air, tight chest. Brenda arrived with supporters' fake tears ready. Her testimony was dramatic enough to belong in a bad TV movie. She called me obsessed, dangerous, unstable. She waved pictures of my cameras like they were sniper scopes. Then Captain Williams stood and calmly dismantled her entire story. The moment the judge saw video of Brenda measuring my fence at midnight, her eyebrows lifted. When she saw screenshots of Brenda's discriminatory posts, her expression hardened. When she read Brenda's personnel file, 47 complaints in 2 years, her tone changed completely. "Mrs. Whitfield, Judge Morrison said your petition is not only denied, but determined to be deliberately frivolous. You will pay Mr. Thompson's legal fees." Brenda turned pale. I walked out of that courtroom, still tired, still shaken, but no longer doubtful of who I was. The next night came the final battle. The monthly housing town hall was packed. Families lined the walls. Reporters showed up. Buzzing energy filled the air like everyone sensed a storm was breaking. Colonel Mitchell opened with announcements. "Effective immediately, we have appointed a new housing coordinator, Marcus Thompson." Silence. Then whispers. Then Brenda shot to her feet. "This is discrimination," she shrieked. "He's dangerous. He's been targeting me." Her voice cracked like cheap glass. Phones came out. People recorded. Colonel Hayes stood calm as a statue. "Mrs. Whitfield, you are no longer employed by this installation. Your termination is effective due to abuse of authority, falsified reports, and discriminatory conduct." Brenda tried to speak again, but her supporters quietly slipped toward the exits. Security escorted her out, while 200 people applauded not for me, but for the end of a reign they'd endured for years. I only said one thing. From today forward, every family here will be treated fairly. No exceptions. And that was it. No celebration, no victory dance. Just the sound of a community finally breathing again. Sometimes the person trying hardest to destroy you ends up teaching you exactly how strong you really are.